Hi, this is the Eddie and Easy Show with Edward and Ezekiel Rhymes. We have an exciting day of football planned ahead. We decided to do a Sunday show instead of, a later in the week show, and we think it's going to turn out just fine. So what we want you to do is what we've always told you to do when you listen to us. We want you to sit back, relax, and most importantly, we want you to check us out. All right, it's the Eddie and Easy Show. I'm Eddie.
I'm Easy.
And, it's week 5 in the NFL season. The clock is expired on the first quarter of the NFL season. So we'll do our best to sort out the intense from the pretense. So far from the games we've called, the records are Eddie, 21-10.
Yeah.
Easy, 17-14. But that could all change today. We've got our mics ready.
I hope so.
We got our mic ready. We cleared our throats, and we made our picks.
Adjust that helmet, straighten out those shoulder pads, and lace up those cleats, because we are a go.
We are a go. Let's go. All right, on the Eddie and Easy Show, we always have to talk about Ehlers-Danlos, EDS. And so we're going to talk about that now.
Although it is difficult to estimate the overall frequency of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, the combined prevalence of all types of this condition may be about 1 in 5,000 individuals worldwide. The hypermobility and classic forms are most common. The hypermobility type may affect as many as 1 in 10,000 to 15,000 people, while the classic type probably occurs in 1 in 20,000 to 40,000 people.
And we've been diagnosed with the classic and hypermobility type. But other forms of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome are very rare. About 30 cases of the atherosclerosis type and fewer than 60 cases of the kyphoscoliosis type have been reported worldwide. The vascular type is also rare. Estimates vary widely, but the condition may affect about 1 in 250,000 people. This is, however, a significant amount of overlap. However, a significant amount of overlapping between the types, so these distinctions can become somewhat blurred.
If you think that you or a family may have the disease, check with the geneticist for testing. The sooner you know, the better. Trust us.
Yeah, trust us. All right, now we're going to move on to the football part of our show. And there we got it. So we need to what? Get ready. Because why? It's time to get the J-O-B-D-O-N-E, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to the show. All right, the first game we have on tapping, it's perfect because Cam was our guy who introduced us to this portion of it. So we're going to talk a little bit about Cam today. So we got Chicago versus Carolina. And I, think that this game is going to go to Chicago.
See you, Cam.
And Easy does too. And so I know why I think it'll go to Chicago. Why did you pick Chicago for this game?
Right now, I just think that Chicago is a better team, even though I really like what I saw from Carolina, especially from Tampa Bay. But right now, Chicago, even though they lost Charles Tillman and they have all these other stuff, I still think that they have, they got Brendan Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, tearing it up right now.
Yeah.
And right now, I think that they're just better than Carolina.
Yeah. Well, Chicago has several challenges on their end of the ball. I think their challenges are fewer than Carolina has. I'm still getting over that, that beatdown Green Bay put on Chicago last week. But when you look at this game, I think it comes down to several things. How is it going to play out in the trenches? And Carolina has their problems on the offensive line. Some guys out, just like Chicago does. Slauson and Garza are still out. Slauson is questionable for this game. Garza is doubtful for this game. Oh, and by the way, we won't have Jermon Bushrod for this game. So Britton will step in at left tackle for him. He was doing a great job. Bushrod has been this season. What I see is that the problems that Carolina has at running back, they will not be able to overcome in this game. And so, and Cam, as far as I've seen him, is not 100% back there. Didn't start the season. Derek Anderson did. And so I see Chicago, even with, Brandon, you mentioned Brandon Marshall in your breakdown. He hasn't done all that great the past few weeks because he's been dealing with an ankle injury. So I think this is his breakout game. He said he feels more explosive now than he has for a while. And so we'll see in this game. What Carolina has had a problem doing is keeping the best receivers of the other team in check. Mm-hmm. And so their secondary with Marshall and Jeffrey and Bennett and, oh, by the way, Forte out of the backfield, I just think it's too much. It's Antonio Holmes. I think he's a solid slot receiver. So I just think it's a little bit too much for Carolina to overcome. But we'll see. I'm picking Chicago. You pick Chicago. On to the next game. We come to Houston versus Dallas. The Texas battle. Houston against Dallas. Jared Jones in the house. Jared Jones in the house. So, I don't know who you went with, but hey, I went with Dallas. I think that Dallas has found the formula. Dallas has found the formula. They are no longer saying, hey, Tony Romo is all on you. They put the ball in the hands of DeMarco Murray, and they're running the ball 50% of the time, or exactly 50.8% of the time. Just a slight bit more than they're passing the ball, which is good for Dallas, which gives that defense a chance to rest and pin their ears back. And, hey, if I got to pass the ball, I still got, Dez. I still have, the guys like Witten that I can throw the ball to. I still can do that. And Romo can still do those things. And, he can still keep plays alive with his legs. And so I look at this game as coming down to who can impose their will on the other team's defense. I see Dallas being able to do that better than Houston can. Houston's a good team. They're 3-1. I give them props. But I think right now, Dallas is the better team. What do you think?
I am picking...
Oops.
We
are out. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my stars. Oh, my goodness. Just click them all. Okay, let's just put Houston up there now. There we go.
Well, we don't really need to...
Yeah, we don't need to go into a big build-up for the other ones now. That's my fault. I'm the technical guy, and I screwed this up. Go ahead.
I'm picking Dallas. Right. I'm not buying it from Dallas. I'm picking Houston. Right now, I'm not buying it from Dallas.
You fooled me before, Dallas. You won again. All right, go ahead. Tell me why you're not buying it from Dallas.
Right? We've seen, Tony Romo's good, Tony Romo's bad. The Cowboys are bad. We've seen this already.
Okay, you know what? I can't argue, but keep talking.
So right now, I think I have a pretty good reason, and all the other people from Texas have a pretty good reason of distrusting the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
And Houston, they've been more consistent.
This year, you think? They've been more consistent? Yeah, 3-1.
From the previous records, they've been more consistent than Dallas. Even if you got, somebody like Pittsburgh, mm-hmm. Baltimore, rather, that would look like, they would have, calm days.
So in a nutshell, you just think Houston and J.J. Watt are just going to be too much of Dallas. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't trust Fitzpatrick either. You don't trust Romo, and I don't trust Fitzpatrick. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if, Houston won. This is so close to the game that I don't think you can say definitively, okay, they most necessarily and most especially a win. But I saw you made some very good points. You made some very good points. I liked them all. All right, now we come to the next game, which pits Buffalo, and you already know who we picked. Which pits Buffalo against Detroit. We both picked Detroit. I just think that Detroit is too much for most teams when they're in the Silverdome.
Yeah.
When they're at home, they're just too much for most teams. You just switched your quarterback. Kyle Orton is your quarterback now. No longer is E.J. Manuel the quarterback. You can't take a team on that type of ride. Yeah. A team needs to know which quarterback they're going to be rallying behind. You were behind E.J. Manuel, and I think they switched E.J. Manuel after they won the game. So it's bewildering to me how this is all going to work out. You know, Kyle Orton is a good journeyman quarterback, but I don't think he's your answer in Buffalo.
As Rich Evans was saying, I wonder if he kept his jerseys all 15 over.
So, yeah, you know, I personally just think that Detroit is too much. Calvin Johnson, as we found out, is active for this game. I don't think that there's anybody in the Buffalo Bills backfield that can cover him. That Buffalo defense, by the way, though, is a pretty formidable defense. And Joyce Bell is not playing, so they won't be able to pound it up the middle with him. You know, they'll have to rely more heavily on Reggie Bush, but I just see Detroit winning this game.
And Kyle Williams is also out, too.
Right. So, you know, it's one of those days, you know, one of those games. All right, so now we come to the next game. Baltimore versus Indianapolis in Indy. But I'm going with the Ravens, and so are you. Tell us why you're going with the Ravens.
Thank you for picking my favorite.
Why are you going with the Ravens?
I mean, I looked at the stats, and just seeing, I mean, Baltimore has a better defense than Indianapolis.
True.
And right now, Justin Forsett is really running the ball well.
True.
Even though Joe Flacco, he's not doing as well as Andrew Luck.
He's been kind of up and down, yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at Torrey Smith and Steve Smith Sr.
Yeah.
And Owen Daniels also. And
yeah. Yeah, well, Pitt is out.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
And Owen Daniels, I mean, it looks completely contrasted from wide receivers to quarterback. I mean, it's like, all right, okay, it's not. I mean, Joe Flacco's not that big a deal, but when you look at the wide receivers, they can do a lot of damage even in that short amount of passes.
Yeah, and I think the Ravens have done a good job of compensating for the loss of Ray Rice this season. So, I picked the Ravens because I just Andrew Luck, as much as he's heralded as, as being a great quarterback, the best young quarterback that we have, I still see him screwing up from the neck up, that he overthinks certain things. And, so I'm picking Baltimore, you're picking Baltimore. We come to the next game, which has no spoiler up, so. So we come to the next game that pits Pittsburgh against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. We went with the Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we went with the Steelers. Jacksonville has a rookie quarterback who's been compared to Ben Roethlisberger, and who in time may be a great quarterback, may be the best quarterback out of this class of 2014. Maybe. The possibility for him to be that is there. He has the tools. He has the gifts to do it. But it won't be today. And so I just think that Pittsburgh, after losing to Tampa Bay badly at home, will not be in a good mood when they arrive in Jacksonville. And I think that they'll get the job done against the Jaguars. How do you see it?
Pittsburgh.
Enough said. All right, so now we go to the next crop of games, which pits Tampa Bay versus
NFL Network is also following it.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, we're looking at NFL Network. All the guys there, Mariucci, Sapp, Irvin, and all these guys have picked, New Orleans. And you know what? I really think they are right.
Oh.
You don't think they're right. I do. All of them picked the Saints. Now.
And 93% of fans did.
Yeah, the Saints, the Buccaneers, to me, seems like a team in need of a psychiatrist because they have a split personality. How do you lose the way you did to the Falcons? How do you lose the games that you lost? and then go on the road and, smack around a pretty decent Pittsburgh Steelers team. I don't understand Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay drives me crazy.
Like
now,
me?
Yeah, New Orleans. New Orleans, don't get me wrong, they are not the team that they once was. They are not dominating teams when they win, and they have lost some games that maybe they should have won. So don't get me wrong, New Orleans by not by a mile is the formidable team they once were. But they play good at home, and they're at home, and that's why I'm giving a nod to New Orleans. I will pick Drew Brees over Mike Glennon any day. I will pick, the New Orleans Saints over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the, in the what dome?
Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, they changed the name, didn't they? The Mercedes-Benz Dome? That's what it's called?
I think so.
Okay. I will take the Saints at home, okay, over the Buccaneers. How do you say? Why are you picking the Buccaneers? That requires some sort of explanation. Why did you pick the Buccaneers?
I have just one thing to say.
What?
I did not let the New Orleans Saints ride home.
No, you gotta back your play now, kid. Come on.
Okay. Right now, the Saints are not doing well. I mean, they're 1-3.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tampa Bay's like 2-2, and I think that they just have the skill set to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though sometimes they get like Two-Face. I just think that they can do it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that gives Tampa Bay hope in this game, and I know I spoke disparagingly of, Mike Glennon, but he has been an improvement over Josh McCown, and what I predicted before when Josh McCown first signed, and you heard me, when he first signed with the Buccaneers, I said Josh McCown was more a product of the system he was in. He goes to another team in a different system, he will not play as well, and that's what's proved out these past, the beginning of this season. So, look, some people say I don't like telling you I told you so. I really do. So, so now we come to the next game, Atlanta versus the New York Giants. And let's see who we picked here. I went with the Giants, and so did you. I will tell you why I picked the Giants. They have played better football the past couple of weeks. Eli Manning, in the past couple of weeks, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Enough said. He's playing better football. Rashard Jennings is breaking out. He's backing up, those guys in Oakland, for those number of years. And now he's come to the Giants where he's the guy now. All the other guys are either retired because of injury or the other guys are just not up to snuff when it comes to the running back position. And Rashard Jennings is the guy. And he's proven he can be a good receiver out of the backfield, too, when you give him the opportunity. New York Giants defense is playing just well enough to keep them in football games. Atlanta Falcons, I don't trust their offensive line. It's like Swiss cheese. I mean, guys are just getting through. And so I'm looking at this game and, especially after the humiliation that Atlanta suffered, at the hands of, a rookie quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater against Minnesota. And they're on the road. And the Falcons don't play nearly well enough on the road to win this game, in my opinion. I just don't see Matt Ryan and those guys overcoming the deficits they have on their team. I don't think they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why did you pick the Giants?
I think that with the Atlanta Falcons, they're on the road, cold New York.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to the warm dome in Atlanta.
Right.
And I mean, with that weather change, and you got New York, I mean, if they got that, they have enough to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Atlanta's just not one of those teams that travel well.
Nah.
And there you have it. So now we come to the next game, St. Louis versus the Eagles in Philadelphia. Shady McCoy has not cracked 100 yards yet this season. But even with that being said, I'm going with the Eagles. You went with the Rams. I'll let you explain why you went with the Rams.
One word. Defense.
Okay.
And I think it's disruptive enough. Hey, there they are.
Yeah, the Rams are coming out of the tunnel now. Yeah.
A little fun sidetrack, but and here is also the Eagles coming out.
The tunnel.
Yep.
Okay, go. Tell me.
Those are the Falcons. Never mind.
All right, let's get back to our picks. There we go.
Okay. One word, defense. I think they're disruptive enough with that front seven to mess up Nick Foles.
Okay.
And they also they got Janoris Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
And they have that front seven with also Shady McCoy not doing well. I think that's also going to be a support for St. Louis.
Well, I got one word as to why the Rams won't win, and that's young quarterback, Austin Davis. I mean, here's the thing that a team will tell you if you had a private conversation with them. They may like a young quarterback, and he may excite them at times, but they haven't learned how to trust a young quarterback. And when a defense doesn't trust their young, inexperienced quarterback, sometimes they do things on defense to try to push it a little bit. They think they have to do a little bit more because they don't trust the guy who's quarterbacking. So they put more on their shoulders. And here's how I see it. You as a defense put more on your shoulders against this Philadelphia Eagles offense, you will get torched. Okay? I see Macklin, in spite of Janoris Jenkins and in spite of the front seven, I see Macklin tearing loose. I don't think they have an answer for Ertz. I don't think they got a linebacker that can cover Ertz. I don't think that they have that in order to play. We'll keep it running. I don't think they have a linebacker that can come. I don't think they have a safety that can cover Zach Ertz. And so I just think that and I do think you'll see Shady McCoy get some. I think they're conscious now that we got to get him running. We got to get him busting loose. And I think that now the one weak spot on this Eagles team is their defense. But I think they've answered it. They looked at it and said, look, we got to get Shady McCoy the ball more. We got to get him off. And we got to stay with the run until he breaks loose. And in those times where the run, isn't, clicking, the run game isn't clicking like it should, they can always throw the ball downfield. And I think as good, and I agree with you, the Rams have a front seven that's probably second to none in the NFL, other than what I would say the Seattle Seahawks. But you play against this Eagles defense, you better be in shape because they do that no huddle, that offense, and I've seen guys with their tongues hanging out when they played against this Eagles team. So I give the edge to the Eagles, especially since they're at home. So now we come to the next game that pits the Cleveland Browns against the Tennessee Titans. The game is in Tennessee. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going with the Browns. You're going with the Titans. Okay, explain to us, sir. Young sir. What, young prognosticator. Why are you going with the Titans?
What's a prognosticator?
Only on the A and Easy Show can you get this type of comedy. Someone who predicts something, young man.
Oh. There is. I mean, about. TV's confusing me. I think. Thank you.
Hey, I messed up and clicked your pick for the next game when I was turning that down. But go ahead. Why are the Titans going to win against the Browns?
I'm thinking.
You got to think.
I forgot my answer. I'm usually much better on this.
Oh yeah, but we're talking about today now.
I think that with dang it, I can't think of the words I'm trying to say.
Okay, you think Tennessee is going to win because Tennessee's at home?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that I had a good reason.
Okay, but we got to get this show moving along, kid. You know, hey, Cleveland.
I'm gonna lose this game.
Cleveland. I pick Cleveland. Better defense, more settled at quarterback, a better running game, and they're not as confused as the Titans are right now. Titans are not settled at quarterback, and whenever a team is not settled at quarterback, they can't go forward and forge an identity as a team. As much as we talk about the X's and O's, as much as we talk about, the stats, that intangible thing called a team identity is important. And the quarterback goes a long way in cementing what your team identity is going to be. And the Titans are back and forth on this thing. I just see the Browns winning because they're a better team. Even if they're on the road, they are a better team. So now we go to the next game. We already know you picked the Broncos, and so did I. I think the Broncos are mad, man. I think after losing that very close game to Seattle, I think that, look, we know we can play better, and we got to play better. Denver is just a better all-around team, and Arizona has the same, issue that the Rams have. They have this young, been playing well, don't get me wrong, but a young, Dean Stanton, he's not young, but he's inexperienced. He hasn't had a whole lot of starts. And I just think that this retooled Denver defense, even though they lost in that Seattle game, showed me something, that they have improved as a defense. I think that, Denver wins this one hands down. I just do. They're a better team. And they're at home.
Yeah.
I guess you concur.
No. What is concur mean?
Agree.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. We got to break out the thesaurus today. All right. So now we come to the next game that puts the New York Jets, against the San Diego Chargers. San Diego is playing some pretty good football this year. They really are. Even with some of the injuries they've had on defense, their defense has impressed me. Phillip Rivers seemed like he's taking on the challenge of elevating his game. And the challenge for them will be, however, they lost Woodhead. I don't know if Ryan Matthews is playing today at all. But, I still look at them being able to beat the Jets, especially in San Diego, because they are the better and the most complete team. How do you see it?
I see it,
Excuse me. Go ahead.
You have Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates is doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been under the wire, but this year he's had a resurgence with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
And you also got Eddie Royal, also playing good. And I think that it's going to move well for them. They also have a pretty good defense. Also, They also have. I mean, they're not like the greatest defense in the world, but they're good enough to back up their offense.
Yeah, and Jets have the same problem that most teams seems to be having this year. Unsettled at the quarterback position. Geno Smith hasn't proven to me he's the answer in New York yet. He really hasn't. He can play some phenomenal games at times, and then he can play some games that'll have you scratching your head and say, what was he thinking? So that Jets defense is always good. They're always stout. Rex Ryan always has them ready to play defense. I just see San Diego being the better team. And, with a young quarterback, Being on the road sometimes is a deficit. A lot of times it's a deficit when you have to go on the road as a young quarterback, especially when you haven't proven that you are the guy yet. Geno Smith, in my opinion, hasn't proven he's the guy. So now we go to the next slate of games, which pits the Kansas City Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, look at the Charlie Brown video. All right, so I picked San Fran. You picked the Chiefs. Why?
If you saw last Monday's game
against the Patriots, they decimated them. I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, San Francisco is not doing well. Colin Kaepernick is not as good. The only sweet spot that I see with them is even their defense isn't as good as they used to be with Navarro Bowman out
and Aldon Smith.
Yeah, and the only sweet spot in their team is the only sweet spot that I see is Frank Gore.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only guy that I see that's playing well. Also, Anquan Bolden, he's also doing well, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Well,
like you said, the receiver's only as good as the quarterback that's throwing it to.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly what I was about to say. And so if you see a dip in the numbers of wide receivers, you need to check the quarterback stats as well, too. I agree with a lot of what you said. But Kansas City, in my opinion, has been unpredictable as well, too. But that combination they have in the backfield, Nile Davis and Jamal Charles, thunder and lightning. I mean, those two guys are dangerous. And that's where I look at it and say, yeah, they have a shot to beat the San Francisco 49ers. I still think with the challenges that San Francisco faces, especially since Deion Sanders came out and said that the 49ers players don't like, Jim Harbaugh. I think this is the game that they kind of start putting things together. And we'll find out if Deion Sanders is right. Because if they really do like their coach, what they do is that they bond together and they say, let's win this for our coach. And they shut all the outside voices out and they start getting the job done. And I think this week they'll get the job done against Kansas City. My thought, but you made some great points, and I wouldn't be totally shocked if Kansas City won. Let's just put it that way. So we go to Cincinnati and New England. We both picked the Bengals. I picked the Bengals because, simply put, the Bengals has played, up until this point, the best ball in the NFL right now. They have played better and a more complete game than all the other teams, in my opinion. People were talking against, Andy Dalton before the season started, that he didn't merit the contract that they gave him. I guess he's proven some people wrong so far. Their running game, Giovanni Bernard, excellent. Their passing game, led by A.J. Green and Mohamed Sanu, excellent. Their defense, their front seven, excellent. Their defensive backfield, excellent. I'm hard-pressed. Their special teams, pretty good. I'm hard-pressed to find something I can point to the Bengals and say, they need to do this better. They're playing good ball. They're playing as close to perfect as any team playing right now. They're playing better ball than any team right now. That's all I got to say. The Bengals are just playing better ball. Reason why you picked the Bengals?
New England is playing terribly.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be Tom Brady's last year.
The last hurrah.
Yeah, but, even with Rob Gronkowski, I still do not see...
Do you think Gronkowski is 100%?
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, me either.
I think he's like 75%, but
yeah.
I don't think he's 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think he might not even be the same.
Right, exactly.
And I just don't see it from New England. Their running game is not doing anything. their defense, their lesson.
Right.
I mean, they were. I mean, the last few years they were great, but now, I mean, it's like something happened, and Tom Brady, things haven't been clicking with the receivers, and I think it's just a mess with them.
Yeah. Okay. So now we come to the last game, the Monday Night Football game, which pits the Seattle Seahawks against Washington, and we both went with Seattle. I find it silly to have to explain why I pick Seattle right now. Yeah, they're playing better ball, period. Seattle's a better team, period. Kirk Cousins, who played admirably against the, forget what team they were playing, I believe it was the Eagles, played admirably against the Eagles, and then he stuck up the joint the next game. I went on record as saying that Kirk Cousins is probably a better fit for Jay Gruden's offense than RG3 is. Now I still hold to that, but I'm starting to, falter a little bit because of the game he played last week. It was horrible. Seattle with Russell Wilson. When I told you about how a defense trusts a quarterback, this defense trusts Russell Wilson to not put them in bad positions. I don't know if if Washington's defense trusts Kirk Cousins not to put them in bad positions. I just see Seattle winning this game, maybe even in a blowout, even though they're on the road. How do you see it?
I got nothing to say.
I got nothing. So this week, who's on the bye? We have the Dolphins and Raiders who are on bye. So this is why we didn't mention the Dolphins and Raiders, because they're on the bye this week. All right. So now we come to the segment of the show called "Let Me Talk to Ya." So we'll start with easy. You want to talk to Easy?
J.J. Watt.
All right.
My second favorite player.
Okay.
And what I really want to say to him is, it's the Battle of Texas, and you need to step it up for your team. You are the team leader, and you need to play. Like you mean it. I'm not saying that you haven't, but
played some pretty good ball.
Yeah. Just a little bit more today.
All right. So you talk to J.J. Watt. I'm going to talk to another defensive lineman. I'm going to talk to Jared Allen. Jared. I understand you caught pneumonia last week. You got sick. Even lost something like, from what I heard, anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds. That's rough, man. But even before the sickness happened, you haven't been playing the best ball. Now, at the beginning of the season, when we let go, in the offseason, when we let go of Julius Peppers, and then we got you, I thought we got the better end of the bargain. Hey, you've had like 7 or 8 straight seasons of double-digit sacks. You've been known for your motor going nonstop, giving your all on every play. Those are things that, we had problems with Jay Pep at times, that he didn't give his all. But that wasn't the problem with you. But looking at this season so far, you haven't performed. You haven't stepped up. We thought we were getting, Jared Allen regular, and we find out we've gotten diet Jared Allen. You got to step up your game, man. You got to play ball. You got to step it up. All right. So now we come to the end of the segment. We come to the end of the show. And we want to tell you, to learn more about Ehlers Download Syndrome, visit these pages. Very important. We must become more aware about this disease. It's considered a rare disease now, But we suspect that as more people are diagnosed, as more people become aware, it may become less rare than it is, and we may get the resources behind it. So please visit these pages. That just about does it for the Eddie and Easy Show. I'm Eddie.
I'm Easy.
And we say goodbye.